fix life looks brilliant, give me more of this. I'm out of control, about to blow, and I've been caught in the undertow. So toxic but I can't get enough. You bury me, bury me. Yeah, you bury me, bury me. You've got me hypnotized, push me out of myself. You've got me hypnotized. I can see, I can hear, going crazy, but the light has got me hypnotized. You've got me hypnotized. Get you out of my head again. Is it wrong? Is it right? It's like I've won my final war without a fight. I'm out of control, about to blow. I've been caught in the undertow. Toxic, but I can't get enough. You bury me, bury me. I know you bury me, bury me. You've got me hypnotized, push me out of myself. You've got me hypnotized. I can see, I can hear, going crazy, but the light has got me hypnotized. You've got me hypnotized. Get you out of my head, get you out of my head.
Please note.
Never gonna stop, never gonna change, never gonna do the things you say. I run my own way to get there. Pulls a coin in the eye, don't seem to care. In the air, no more crowd, just the opposite kind of few clouds. So tell me this time is coming for the sake of all your lies. Why don't you try to be wise? Now that I need you anyway. Just to feel like I'm fading. And though my heart breaks a beat down, I press the lens just to tell you, don't lead the way, don't leave a say. Then I try with a try to play in the rain. I feel like I'm fading.
I was gonna say,
Hello,
Auntie, what happened? Oh, here you go. She's frozen.
Oh no, wind advisory happening in Washington State, as we said. She might come in and out. We might get her back. I hope we get her back. Oh,
No, poor thing. Oh, she got kicked out right
take it away,
away.
girl.
Oh, I was gonna say WCW. I just want to go with the original one, but it's not it. Women's
Um,
women's classic wrestling. I have to get used to those letters now again. Jeez, how are you
yeah.
doing, Melball?
I'm doing great, Astrid. It's been a fun day today. I caught up. I just finished rewatching because I had to watch it a second time. The New Japan and Stardom historic crossover show. Oh my gosh! If
Oh,
you guys gotta go see it. If you can get it anywhere, you have to watch this show. It was amazing.
mm.
I just had some dinner with my parents, and now I'm here with you, lady. I'm waiting on Auntie. How are you doing?
It feels weird being here on a Monday. I'm definitely not used to this. It takes some getting used to. It makes me feel like it's Tuesday, but it's not. I figure it was Auntie's show, so I wanted her to do the intro, but I guess I'll do a little bit of the intro. We came up with this well, she started with this idea not too long ago.
Mhm.
So was it about a month or so at this point? Um, and talking about like, well, we wanted to talk about the Mae Young Classic because some of us were watching it, but we were not podcasting at the time, so we didn't get to talk about it with other people. So um,
Mhm.
it took some getting used to the fact that we haven't been able to talk about it to other people. So I'm glad we got this opportunity now to do it. And then we figured, have all the ladies come in and do a little something that, aside from what we usually do. Plus, I'm like, we don't have anything on Mondays on OLE, so now we do have something on Mondays.
Yay!
Yes. Um,
Here we
and why
are.
not take the opportunity to talk more women's wrestling? So it's like, let's start with the Mae Young Classic. I remember being, if I always forget which one, but I think it was the second one, if I'm not mistaken. So I remember watching this on the network and tweeting about it more than anything, but I was there for the second one. So it's definitely gonna feel weird watching the second season because I'm used to when I was watching it there. I didn't watch it like on the network at that moment because I was there, so I was like, there's no point in watching it. Um, as Millie says, it's not Tuesday because Ed isn't on screen with his haterade. No, it won't be with me
Ah,
tomorrow either. So the haterade is gonna have to wait one more week. I do have
more
Scoop
than
Spicky
his
with me
haterade.
tomorrow. I don't have his haterade. Mine's not the same haterade, just in case.
Yours has a little less
um,
flavors than Stevie.
no, mine has sparkles and stuff of positivity in there. It doesn't know what that
Ed.
means. So
Oh, poor Ed. Poor Ed. Not
for
even here.
for
He's getting
nothing,
razzed.
for nothing. No. Yeah, Ed says we used
Um,
to do this for a couple of weeks. Yeah, we did it for Talking Takeover, but we had to hold off
mm,
on that for a little bit. So I feel attacked, but it's true. See, I'm not alone. Um, so let's
oh,
see.
yeah, Ed, I love it.
Let's start at the beginning. For you,
Mm.
for the Mae Young Classic, were you watching it when it first started at that moment?
No,
Oh,
so this was actually when I had actually just stopped watching NXT and WWE regularly, when I had kind of fallen out of love with it, so to speak. So like when Auntie actually sent me the list of the like the matches that we were gonna watch for, I'm like, I know three of these people, which is
mhm.
okay. It's an okay average. But I know all three of these people from other things and not this. So I was like, okay, we're gonna see how this kind of goes.
There
Hey,
we
she made it back!
go.
Hey,
Yay!
I think I jinxed myself by having the blue background. I should have put the pink, but I was like, you know what? Let's try it. Let's mix it up. And then I got a
Yes,
blue
the
screen
pink.
of death, and then all of a sudden, boom.
No.
No.
So,
Well,
but I'm here. I'm here.
No.
Hello, everyone. Oh
yay!
my
Look at
gosh.
that. Look at
All
all
my
these people you
favorite
got
people
welcome
are
you back.
here. Hey,
Yay!
have you already done the intro? Yeah, I was kind of listening, but
Sort
you
of.
know.
I was gonna leave it to you because I was like, you're the one that came up with the idea.
Oh my God. Okay. Well, hello. Pretend like the music just ended. Hello, and welcome to a Women's Classic Wrestling podcast. This is the podcast where we are going to go over all of the classic women's wrestling shows, tournaments, matches that we all remember. But have we really analyzed? Have we really thought about it in a group setting? Have we talked about it? Have we even thought much beyond the 3 count? Uh, I am your host, Auntie Collins. These two lovely ladies are here because A, I love and respect them both so much. B, they're stunning, beautiful, gorgeous, chef's kiss, but also they both have extensive knowledge about women's wrestling. And I am a fan. I am always a fan first. I always learn so much from both of you. And you come from two separate backgrounds that I think is pivotal to what we can smorgasbord together as we deep dive into women's classic wrestling. So, are you ready to
Smorgasbord.
jump right in?
That was a better
Hit
intro than what I
it.
did. Woo!
Yes.
All right. I do have to say, my radio voice came out, my radio persona, all the things. And the more I get to do that, the more you're just kind of gassing me up here. So I'm into it. But sound off in the chat. Tell us what you're having tonight, what you're drinking tonight. What's everyone got? I'll show you. 7. I'm trying to mix it up with my beverages tonight. We got King. Is it what's on the cup?
Supplement King. I got BCAs. They're horrible.
Oh, no me
I
gusta.
have not the haterade that drinks the nice one.
Oh
No
my
haterade here.
gosh. Well, I am a beverage goblin, so to speak. It's the ism over here. So I have a water. I drank through my caffeine, and I had to give it up for Mr. 7 Up. So
Auntie, this
cheers.
comments for you.
New drinking game. Take a shot every time Auntie laughs through the show. Oh, it made me in trouble.
Oh yeah. Munson's
Do
gonna be
you?
on the floor.
Yeah, I was about to say, do you drink for as long as I'm laughing? Because I have my little
Oh,
bursts,
Mm,
but then
I
mm.
think that's a good rule. I think that is a good rule. That's a set rule.
Jeez.
oh, oh my gosh. I'm so excited to start this podcast with both of you. I remember watching the Mae Young Classic as someone who, I don't know, I was watching NXT. There's all those can I say words? Preliminary matches that were happening at that time, right? In 2017, the summer of 2017, and there was this newness to the women's roster. We had just seen the, Sasha and Bailey have their top tier match, which we do see in that intro of the first episode where they do talk about the pillars of women's wrestling coming into 2017 landscape. I mean, it was very different. There was no AEW. Ring of Honor was kind of at the end of their Sinclair deal. It was kind of a different space of wrestling. And I don't know where y'all were watching wrestling in 2017.
Jeez, you're
I
making me
was
think
in
now.
New Japan. That was when I had just started watching New Japan because that was when I just started moving away from the WWE and getting more into the Japanese wrestling that I am obsessed with today.
I
Yeah.
love it.
I actually hadn't seen this tournament at all. So these matches were all like brand new to me, like just fresh out there off the what am I trying to say? Off the newspaper
Fresh off
saying
the
words.
press.
There you
Fresh
go.
off the press. I was thinking of something not dirty to say.
Same. And I stalled. It was only a
Oh,
dial-up tone in the brain.
I do. So on my journey, I call it a journey, my commute to and from work. I usually listen to podcasts, and I've been listening to different like genres of books as I go along. I started listening to a queer romance novel, and I got through
Mm.
the setting of the plot here, and now I'm into the sexier parts where the innuendos are coming in, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to turn this off because what if I get into a car accident? And then does the music stop when you get into a
It
car accident and I'm laying on,
it does not.
it
It does not, in
doesn't.
fact. There's
Let's
there's there's an absurd amount of like TikTok and Instagram reels out there that confirm the radio does not in fact turn off.
oh my God.
Mm,
Yeah.
Yeah.
We are
no.
Let us start talking about, cuttalingus over here. And I'm just, laying with my like collarbone broken and an 18-year-old, fresh out of like EMT school or whatever is like trying to jaws of life me. And I'm just, no, stop, no. Ah!
You don't need to hear this.
Oh, you don't need to hear this. Oh, exactly.
Yeah,
It
and that
wouldn't,
even started. Please.
yeah.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be a show without a little bit of spice. But I did want to ask Astrid, where were you watching wrestling in 2017?
I'm trying to remember. Oh, Ed, no, we're not starting this topic at this time. Um, I know I was mostly like focused in WWE, but I also watched a little bit of TNA, but I remember if I was watching it around that time though. But for me though, I was around that time that when the network started, I was one of the people that signed up on the first day because I wanted to watch NXT. That was like the main reason why I got it. And then they announced this, and I was like, this is exciting. I was like, I want to see all these women from different places and get introduced to all these women that I don't know about and see how they go from here. And then I started realizing with the first, like, as they have it as a season and here, the fact that a lot of them ended up getting contracts after this. So when they announced the second one, I was thinking, oh, I can't wait to see what other like crop of talent we get from here that's going to get signed. And I
Mhm.
attended the second Mae Young Classic, the tapings there for both nights. So it's a little bit different in that aspect for me because I was able to go and attend it live after seeing the first time. I I, I wanted to watch it live right there in person. So I was there from like when Tegan Knox got injured and that Rhea part there too. So like
Oh,
those beginnings there. So I was there for all that. So it's a little bit different for me. And I don't remember if I watched it on the network. Aside from watching it live when it was recorded at that time, but it was mostly for me, it's always been mostly WWE, a little bit of TNA for the sometimes, but I was in WWE has always been like my main company, to put it like that I've been watching wrestling for. So I know I watched these, but it's been such a long time that it just feels like something new at the same time because it's just happened. It's been so long since I watched them, so it definitely feels
yeah.
new at the same aspect of it. But it's nice to see women like when you think about like a Kaylee Ray and seeing her like at that moment there to where she is now and seeing like the difference in the years is something that makes you think about when you're watching this type of tournaments like this.
Yeah, it is interesting. This is also before I started dating my husband. Like that's how long ago this was. He and I were just friends at this time.
Mm,
And
Mm.
we were just friends. And I really used wrestling as an escape also during this time. So
mhm,
knowing that I watched it with like, not as analytical eyes, more for the entertainment aspect, but I really
mhm,
didn't know any of these women wrestlers. Besides for this episode, I think I remember Serena Deeb because
mhm,
she used to be and now she, came back and we'll talk about that. But I was so excited to learn all these new wrestlers. And now looking back, going, oh my God, you've grown so much, or, you've
mhm,
changed so much. It's interesting um, to look at it. 7 years later.
mhm,
7 years.
mhm.
All right. Well, if you are ready, let's jump in. So I do have to say, a part of every women's something in WWE, Stephanie McMahon has a monologue for.
Mhm.
And a while I was like, wow, this is really good. It made me chuckle because Stephanie McMahon always seems to be like, yeah, women's wrestling, I've been fighting for you when like you've been
Mhm.
part of the problem for so long. Women were not booked well because
Mhm.
of your
Yeah.
family. So like
Yeah.
it just
Yeah.
is very like, oh, okay. I don't know how I feel about this, but I do like the, mentioning Alundra Blaze without saying Alundra Blaze's name by, mentioning blazing your own trail. Well, Stephanie McMahon invented women's wrestling.
Oh my.
Mm.
But I love a good video montage, right?
Mhm.
Mhm.
And it did really set the tone that goes, okay, this is something different. What did you all think about it?
It reminds me a lot of that tweet from AJ when she posted about like AJ Lee responded to Stephanie. It's like your women don't get paid the same as you guys do. And that
Yeah.
reminds me of that whenever I see Stephanie, just reminds me of that particular tweet in my mind. That likes my visual of like if you're supposed to be like so for it, then how come you didn't fight for this to happen before it happened? because you're you can't even say anything because you're one of the people that was always like one of the like top people in backstage, especially around that time. So it feels like, I don't want to say like a hypocrite, but it feels kind of that way in a sense if you think
Yeah.
about it that way. Like in front of the people we're saying, it's like, yeah, we're all for this, but then it's like, are you doing the same thing backstage though? Because it doesn't feel
Mhm.
this, it doesn't give you that vibe based on what's happening in the atmosphere. So it definitely feels,
Mhm.
kind of like it's kind of turns like I'm torn, like I'm in the middle because of it. But at the same
Yeah.
time, having like she's the only like taking Linda away from this equation, she's the only like woman in the McMahon family that's always been like predominant like this in wrestling. So think about it. It also feels like great that she's the one doing the presentation at the same time because she's one of the authority
Mhm.
figures. But it's like again, it doesn't feel the same when you think about what she does behind the scenes. So it's like kind of like half and half about that part of it. But I'm guessing for them, it's probably like she's like a safe choice compared to most people if you think about it that way, because neither of them know about the
Mhm.
relationships that they got with everybody else. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm just like I'm in between about it.
Melba, what did you think about the opening monologue, so to speak?
A movie line, a movie quote, if you will, comes to mind when I see Stephanie McMahon at this point now, knowing what we know. And that's from The Emperor's New Groove, Yzma. It's called a cruel irony, like our dependence on you. It, it just, it's a little cringe for me now. I kind of giggle at it. I think hypocritical a little is actually kind of leaning into it a little bit properly. I know you like to be nice, Astrid. We got to enter our sassy girl era. It's but it is also, to your point, it also smart to have her. It's safe to have her in that because she is a recognizable face and in the women's division, whether she necessarily should have been in the women's division or not. She was still a face that people recognized within the division. So again, it is a safe kind of move. If you can't get the Alundra Blaze and can't mention her name, you may as well put Stephanie out there. But I do have to
Oh,
say, I love the I've always loved the WWE's like theatrical kind of feel with its vignettes and these little promos and montages. I mean, it always looks super good, super professional. It gives you something to learn about the people involved, which I always appreciate. Because like if you're just coming in, like I was, to this whole thing, just going in blind, not really knowing who a lot of these people are, it really does help with that kind of educational process and also kind of creates an interest in these characters and these people and these women and makes me want to keep watching.
I definitely agree. And just so you know, this is always a safe space.
Mhm,
Any show on our local
Mm,
establishment is a safe space.
mhm,
Um, this is always a place that we want to be free of any sort of bullying or harassment. We all love each other. We are all
mhm,
kind to each other here. So, but with that said, also I really do love their video packages. I mean, I think that the even as we go into each match, having the camera, be kind, really, I don't know, upscale. I don't know, like
mhm.
high def. It still holds up 7 years later of getting to know
Yeah.
these wrestlers, getting to know their stories. But even just having that, that introduction, it really did set the tone that, I mean, at the time, I'm pretty sure Auntie
mhm.
Collins scares me. Wait
Oh,
a
with that,
minute,
how with that
STG.
laugh?
What? What? STG, we are fighting. We are
Oh.
fighting. You better watch it or else.
I was gonna say,
Uh,
or yeah.
It's the
but
addition of the finger point as well that does it for me.
yeah, yeah. Okay, that's terrifying. Oh my gosh.
Oh,
But
Yeah.
well,
oh
every show has their first, and our first match going in has a very well-known CMLL wrestler, and a very new Scottish wrestler that we had not at the time been acquainted with. We have Princessa Sujit. Is that how I say it? I don't know.
Suhei.
Suhei? Okay.
Yeah.
Suhei. And she was up against Kaylee Ray, who is not Kaylee Ray anymore. I can't even think.
Yeah.
What is her
Fire.
new WWE name? Alba Fire? Alba Fire?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I picked the correct one.
Why would
I'm
you
watching
go
this.
from something so easy to say to something that does not sound phonetically sound?
Alba Fire, Kaylee Ray.
That
It's like
that's
different.
hard for me to say.
Yeah.
I would sound like marbles trying to chant that.
We don't know why it
Come on
happened. It just
now.
happened.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Was this still in the dementia era?
Yeah.
Mhm.
But
Pretty
here's the
much.
thing. She did get signed later with NXT UK and subsequently ushered into NXT and now is on the main roster. Why was she
Oh.
in NXT UK as Kaylee Ray, a very definite champion after the departing Tony Storm,
Mhm.
held the NXT UK women's title for a very long time. And then they decided to go, okay, we understand your lineage. We understand why you're named Kaylee Ray, but there's another wrestler on the indies called Kylie Ray, and that could get a little bit confusing.
Yeah.
So why jump so far to Alba Fire? I will never
Yeah.
know.
It's like reading Jonah.
Okay, Astrid, do you wanna tell me your thoughts on this first match?
So this one I like the fact that these are different styles because Kaylee Ray is more like she's more like grounded, to put it like that, versus Suhei is more like that high fly and lucha libre style. And you do notice more than anything Kaylee Ray kind of slowing down Suhei most of the match. So like it makes you kind of think in a way that Kaylee Ray is gonna get the victory. So in my mind, I even forgot that how this came about because I remember, like I said, I only seen this when it happened. So it's been too long. I only remember the winners of the tournaments, not the matches themselves. So in my mind, I'm thinking Kaylee Ray is like grounding her in such a way and slowing her down that you feel like she's got it. So I was very surprised at the end when Princess Suhei wins it because I'm thinking it also feels strange in a way, especially as Mel likes to call it the dementia era, because they mentioned in commentary that Suhei is from CMLL, like she has that history there. So it's very surprising to see them give her that victory in the end, if that makes sense. So it just and I did like the ending of it though, because how out of all people you think she would do with a high flying move, but she actually does it with a submission right in the middle of the ring like that. It was something that is unexpected from her and her style, which I like to like the way it came about. I did like that part of it, but again, I feel like this is something like me knowing who it is now. I feel like they should icon Kaylee Ray because obviously you get her like introduce her to WWE, give her that momentum moving forward. But that's a different story for a different day because obviously things happen for a reason. But
Yeah.
I feel like it was a very decent opener for the people that were there, though.
Now, as someone who was there, did you know? I mean, I know that they filmed everything kind of all in like one day because it would be
Yeah.
so difficult to catch that momentum again, one after the other.
Mhm.
But did they put them in order as the tournament went on, or were things out of order, so to speak?
So I can speak for this one. I can speak for the second one because that's the one I went to. The thing that was, I don't want to say out of order, but it definitely felt weird because the women that were eliminated from the tournament, they actually participated in tag team matches throughout the nights between both
Hmm.
nights, and it felt like those tag team matches came out a little bit later versus they focused
Mm.
on the singles matches from the tournament when they were putting it on the network first, and then the tag team matches. So that kind of felt odd because I'm in my mind, I'm thinking, oh, this goes next, and then it wasn't that; it was something else. So I think that's the only part that was a little bit like different from how they aired it to me.
Yeah. I love an inside perspective. I'm really glad that you were there because I wish that I could have gone, you know.
Mhm.
Um but Melba, what did you feel watching this for the first time?
It's very actually similar to how Astra felt. That the combination of styles was really interesting, and it was very similar for me to what I see over in Japan quite a bit. So I was actually very much excited about this match because in Japan, and especially now that I've been watching Noah a lot more, I'm getting to see a lot more of the lucha kind of crossover there. So I'm seeing people like Alpha Wolf, Dragonbane. Oh, I don't know how to say his name properly. Astra, please don't hate me. Higyo del Dr. Wagner Jr.?
What is it?
The
The Hill
Hio
Vikingo?
part.
Vikingo?
No, no, no. Hio del Dr. Wagner Jr.
I didn't know that one.
I didn't
No,
either,
no.
and he's pretty big for 23. Anyway, I'm getting off track here. The lucha libre style is something that I'm used to seeing going up against a strong style, whether it's
Mhm.
Japanese or that UK strong style that Kylie Ray very much emulates in her styling. I did appreciate how she used that submission style as well as the power that she knew she had over Princessa to kind of keep her grounded. I also really there was a spot at the beginning where she did the body trip. You don't see that happen a lot with wrestling, let alone with a lucha wrestling, but it was Princessa that got caught with the trip was actually really, really cool. And I felt
Mm.
that these two flowed very, very well together to create a really, really fun match. Lots of kicks and strikes from Kaylee Ray going into the finish here, which I really, really liked, but which actually, again, gave me the impression, based on the rest of the match, that she was actually going to pick up a very prominent and dominant win. So, like the sudden end for me with that armbar, I was like, that is a very Mexican thing to do. We see it with Místico formerly Caristico, all the time. It's just such a fantastical move for them to kind of end with. So I was like, oh, okay, it's interesting.
Mhm.
I agree with Astrid. It was a really fun and interesting way to open up the show and the tournament.
Absolutely. I agree with both of your sentiments. I felt like for it being the opening match to a brand new tournament, the chemistry between these two was really great.
Mhm.
I know that Princessa at this point had been um, 22. I think now it's 8 years in the ring. So
Mhm.
at the time it was only 21, 22 years uh, ring history, right? So now we're taking someone who has been basically doing this for their entire adult life to, at the time, Kaylee Ray was only 25 years old. So almost wrestling as long as someone has been alive. So someone who is a huge veteran to someone who just happens to be really great at wrestling, two separate styles. And Kaylee Ray, for being a very lanky wrestler, packed a huge punch. It looked devastating in some of these forearms. The stopping
Mhm.
a lucha in their tracks is, I mean, you have centrifugal force versus brute force, and just seeing the war of both of them putting their bodies on the line was just so exciting to watch. I just
Mhm.
wanted to give them more time, more
Mhm.
stipulation, 2 out of 3 falls, maybe something along the line. I don't know, but it was really great to see what they could put together. I was shocked rewatching this because I was like, "Oh, it's Kaylee Ray. She's going to get the win. She'll go to the second round." I
Mhm.
know, what the future holds for her. But seeing her again be put away with a submission move was just, it was a devastating loss. speaking of devastating losses, this episode is full of devastating losses for other people, that it really made me go, okay, if that's what we're gonna do, it means that there's gonna be so many more talented female wrestlers in here. And honestly, it kind of felt kind of nice that the cocky young, hot to trot showed up in a submission move by a veteran. And it made me go, oh wow, this is awesome.
Yes.
The crowd seemed to be really familiar with Kaylee Ray, but knowing that they were red hot for it, I think it provided such a great tone for that first one. We also, after this match, got a shot of Naomi in the crowd, which we love a good pop. I mean, we kind of know that, they come in, they go, whatever. But just knowing that one of the best women's wrestlers at the time and even now was in attendance watching, I think I would have my nerves shot. But I really liked that. Okay, well, on to the next match.
Oh, we got somebody from New Zealand. There
From
we
New
go.
Zealand. Wow. Word travels fast, guys. Did you know that? All right. So the second match, we have some familiar faces. We have Serena Deeb, a 31-year-old formerly in the Straight Edge Society, versus Vanessa Bourne, who is a 28-year-old former broadcast announcer, former cheerleader for teams that I think one was the Arizona Cardinals, but I don't know. I don't know. I don't know sports teams like that. But
Me neither.
Yes,
They
I
said it a few
yes,
times.
I might go on a small little rant at the end
Same.
about the commentary.
It's okay. We can kumbaya that circle because I'm pretty sure we're gonna have the same opinions on that.
All right. Millie has a great question. Do we think people like Kaylee Ray lost to help put over the ones that were well known where they were from, but not within the WWE world? I'm not quite sure. I'm jumping into answering the question. I'm not quite sure because Kaylee Ray hadn't even signed with NXT UK. So if there were people in the crowd that knew of Kaylee Ray, it's because y'all are marks sitting in that crowd knowing women's wrestling across the pond. You guys are like intertwined with indie wrestling, and you know what's going on. So
It's true.
yeah.
It's true.
Okay.
That's it. The Suns.
Yes, the sun. The sun will come out tomorrow. Okay. But do you guys want to chime in on that as I jumped and interjected so quickly?
It's hard to know because, like you said, it's like I don't think she was signed at the time, but maybe just the fact that I don't want to say she knew, but they probably had a feeling that she was more known than Suhei was. And maybe they just wanted to like give her better introduction that sort of way, because obviously by her winning, she moves on in the tournament, so people get to see her at least once more, and it's just not that one time. So maybe that could be it. I'm not sure. I can't really like. It feels weird to answer the question when we're not part of it like that, but
Yeah.
I feel like that's the only thing I can think about. So
I mean, it's entirely possible. We have seen it in other companies where more veteran people will kind of start taking more pinfalls or submissions to help put over other talent. I've seen it a lot in Stardom recently with Shuri, one of the most dominant red belt champions in Stardom history. For a while, they're dethroning Julia, and she has been really helping that younger talent by taking strategic losses. They're not losses that make her look weak. I think that's what it all comes down to, is that you put in an experienced enough wrestler who both puts over the young person, but also puts over themselves in the same kind of moment. But it's entirely possible. But if it was in the dementia era, I don't know how much control at that time other people other than Vince had over that, and I don't know how much Vince would let that fly.
Yeah. To answer Bobby's question, would you guys like to see Mae Young Classic in the future again? I don't know why they have stopped.
Mhm.
It costs them no more money than what they've been investing in NXT to just have more people in in the same venue you've been renting out. Why not? People
Yeah, I
want
feel
it.
like it was, especially for like the second season. I always go back to this example. We had somebody like a Mia Yim who was a part of this tournament who wasn't even supposed to be signed, but because of the crowd reaction that she got and the chanting, that they ended up giving her a contract. So it makes me think like this would have been a good introduction to bring in new ladies like that. And when they come into NXT, people are like, yeah, we know her because she won the Mae Young Classic this year, and like things like that, and make it a
Mhm.
part of their accomplishments, like in NXT, for example. So I feel like it's a good way to like introduce us to new talent, and even if you don't sign them, I feel like overall we get to meet new talent, because for me, a lot of the people at this time were new to me, but I kept following them from this tournament to where they are now because of the tournament. So I feel like that's a good way to think about it like that too. It's like, and like you said, it's like
Mhm.
I think about it too, like the fact that they can rent out the PC to do this. A lot of people wouldn't mind it because they get like free advertisement out of it. So might as well. It's kind of similar to
Yeah.
kind of like the WID is what it is like right now. So I feel like
Mhm.
it will kind of work in a similar ish way, to put it like that. So I feel like I would like for it to come back, just not call it the Mae Young Classic, maybe call it something different, and maybe have the winner get a championship match in NXT somehow or something like that to make it prestige as well. So maybe.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah. I'm all down for tournaments. I love tournaments. Again, it's a great way to introduce new talent. I haven't we've gotten a couple, like we got Anna Jay over in the Stardom kind of neck of the woods for there's a tournament over there. It's slipping my mind right now of what it was. I'm just getting dialed up again. But we like in New Japan, we see it a lot more. I was
Mhm.
introduced to the Gates of Agony through there.
Mhm.
I was also first introduced to TMDK before they were more prominent in New Japan. So like it's a great opportunity again to see new talent, to get introduced to them, see where they're going, where they came from. But then also a great opportunity for them to potentially get signed like on the spot, much like Mia Yim did. Isn't she called something else now too?
Yeah, Michin.
Me too.
Mm.
Michin.
Me too.
She's
I mean
forever
that's
the
close at least. Thank you,
HBIC.
Bobby.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, speaking of, I mean, I see week after week how AEW books enhancement talent, and I don't know. I feel like this would be such uh a counterpoint to, you want to book enhancement talent, you want to book people, wrestlers that people don't know. You can do it in a tournament, have preliminary matches week after week after week with enhancement, local talent, whatever.
Mhm.
Uh, but if you do that and you see how the crowd responds to them,
Mhm.
build off that, and you could find your next Rhea Ripley. You could find your next Bianca Belair. You could
Mhm.
find your next Becky Lynch, for all we know. People who are star power just need a little bit of light to shine on them, for
Mhm.
you to see them shine. Shine, glimmer. I don't know what the saying is, but
Sparkle.
yeah, sporkle, a little bit of
Sparkle.
sporkle. Oh my goodness. Oh goodness. Okay. Well, we have this match with Serena Deeb and Vanessa Bourne to talk about. Uh I'm not the biggest Vanessa Bourne fan. I'm going to be honest. I'm not a fan of how she works. I get that she's trying to be a heel. I get that she is pretty green, right? She's just mostly athletic. And oh
I
my
like that
God.
though.
Serena Deeb can wrestle a paper bag and somehow put it into origami, so to speak. So many different submissions, so many different folds and things that she might not be the most dynamic person, but she has a good story. And I think that she's really talented. Um, I'll just tell you how I like the match. I do think that Serena Deeb, from what we saw when she first was in, oh, my watch is stuck to my pants. Okay, sorry, that was weird. My watch, because I have like a metal watch. It's got stuck to my pants. That was really strange. But Serena Deeb looks a lot different, wrestling a little bit different than when she was with the Straight Edge Society, because she had not obviously done what she did in NWA and done what she's done in AEW. So this is kind of like the prodigal son has returned. And also, we have our first female referee. Jessica Carr made her debut here, which is like, oh baby, oh baby. But this match for me was, it was just Serena Deeb playing with her food, so to speak. I mean, we'll see more of that next match. But I feel like Vanessa was just a little bit too inexperienced to be up against the likes of Serena Deeb. I do think that she has that charisma that is missing from Serena Deeb. But I mean, Serena Deeb out wrestled her. She mastered her. There were a couple awkward spots in at the ring post where I feel like they were trying to gather their spirit, so to speak. It looked a little bit frustrating. But Serena Deeb rallied and got a spear to win in 6 minutes. This match was 6 minutes. It's a little rough for me, but Serena Deeb went, okay, you're a little bit difficult to wrestle. Let's just pack it up and go. So that was my opinion of this match. Moa, I'll go to you next.
Yes, it didn't feel like 6 minutes. It felt like 20. My God, did this drag? Oh my! I had to watch it twice because I couldn't keep my focus.
Yeah.
For a while, I kept starfishing or like goldfishing, just ooh, castle. Like it was I was very not I was unable to get into this match. I did notice again, Serena, as you said, she lacked the personality and Vanessa had all of it. And when you have the person who has all the actual workability but no personality, working the person who has all the personality but very little workability, it turns into this little awkward muddling of stuff that ended up being this match. Um, I really did like both their gear though, I gotta say. They fit the personalities really, really well. Especially Serena coming back. It kind of gave it almost like a classic, like it gave me OG Trish Stratus vibes with the bell bottom kind of flare on the boots. But
Yes.
then the top and the colorful design, the colorful pattern is not something that we typically saw. So it was kind of like her little touch of her own flair. And then Vanessa being, the cheerleader type, her outfit very much gave me cheerleader, entertainer vibes. And I definitely felt that she was trying to reach that level of heel in this match, and I feel like what she was doing with all her heel stuff, she was trying to do to compensate for the fact that she knew she couldn't keep up,
Hmm.
Mm.
educationally speaking, with Deep. But yeah, this one, she she struggled. She struggled with this one.
Yeah, very much.
I agree. Astrid, round us out for this
I mean,
interesting match.
there's not much I can say from what you guys have said, but I think definitely this is one of those like you can tell who's the rookie and who's the veteran in this match as you're watching it. Unfortunate to
Mhm.
say it's something like that, but again, it's like for me the tournament itself is more an introduction to the talent. So for the people that didn't know her, this was a good way to get to know both of them and start to like
Mhm.
getting familiar with both of them, and that's how I felt about this match. But I get it. We know Serena has so much more experience than Vanessa does, so it's like it doesn't matter how you put them together. You were gonna be able to tell like Serena's trying her best here with somebody who doesn't have a lot of like experience at that time, and even looking at it like back a little bit later, Vanessa wasn't even in NXT for too long either. So that's
Hmm.
one of those things that you can tell that she and like I think it was here JK is asking, is she even taking indie bookies? I haven't seen in a while. I haven't either, so I don't even know where she's at the moment. So that probably tells you a little bit of what it's like in the wrestling world, how people come in and leave in such a way sometimes. She might be, but I don't know. I'm gonna have to look it up while we're done here. But yeah, you can tell this was the only thing. What you can tell here as well is what Serena's style is so hard hitting, and compare it now to how she's in AEW, she hasn't changed in that aspect. Her style is basically the same thing. So it just, how do you go and wrestle somebody like that who has so much experience than you do, and you're not compatible, to put it like that. And it's just like you can tell on this match, unfortunately, and like that you guys were saying, it's like this is one of those like it felt a lot longer than what it was because of like the slowness of it. And again, both of their
Mhm.
styles makes it even slower to think about it that way too. Um, I remember Vanessa and the Robert Stone group.
Oh my
Oh, the Robert
God.
Stone groups. The
Ah!
what do we call it?
No?
Ed? I forgot the name of it. Um, Sheesh, I'm blanking out on the name that what we call it because of everybody. Every time
I feel like
somebody
he
teams
has
up
a
with
new
Robert
group
Stone,
every
they
month,
got
though.
released. Not anymore, thankfully. But there we go. There's like a curse. That's the word I was looking for.
Yeah.
Because every time somebody teamed up with Robert Stone, they wouldn't last too long afterwards. So
Well,
yeah.
if you would like to know, Vanessa Bourne is going as Danielle Camilla. She's been on Ring of Honor television. She was part of the Owen Hart Foundation 2020 women's tournament qualifying rounds. Britt Baker
Oh.
defeated her to get into the Owen Hart Foundation. She ended up going to win. So that's kind of fun. Wait, was it 20? I think Britt Baker won in 2022. Yes, because Willow. Nope, she didn't. She won in 2021. Right? No. Years, everything, sandwich, just all together.
I
No, she
feel
did
that. I feel that.
2020, 2022 because then Willow won in 2023. Yes. Okay. That's what it is. But yeah, she's been around, but she hasn't been around enough. Um,
Mhm.
I mean, the last booking was in August of 2024. Before that, it was April. There's just everything is sporadic, and ever since she was released from NXT
Interesting.
in 2020, it just seems that she hasn't gone anywhere, and that kind of sucks because we want to see green people progress, right? But she was sitting in NXT with really nothing going on. Yes, there was the Robert Stone group, so to speak. There was that little, whatever. But it kind of sucks because she does have that charisma. She does have that essence that you can't buy. You can't learn. She just has it. But it just sucks that there's not a lot of substance, not a lot of wrestling, which is fine. Fine. Some people just like the charisma in the ring, and that's fine. Not for me, but she does a lot of sports betting content as well. Listen, make that coin. Make that coin. There's so much money in hot girls making men empty their pockets. Hello. Shake it, men. You want to see some cleavage and titties? Drop your dollars. But in a betting way, right? You could win some. You give me cookie, got you cookie, and now you see some titties, you know? I'm into it. Is that the way it goes? Please don't clip that. Oh my god.
You had me at
I'm not
cookies,
hungry
Auntie.
anyway.
You had me at cookies.
Yeah.
Listen, I love a good cookie. We go to our first squash match of the tournament.
Mhm.
We have Shayna Baszler versus Zeta, who Zeta at this time was already signed with NXT, and Shayna was right behind a couple months later. But you get to see some familiar faces in the crowd cheering her on, and Jim Ross going, "They're the four horsewomen." And I go, "What are you saying, Jim Ross? We already have the four horsewomen. These are the four horsewomen of MMA." But then he almost calls them the four horsemen. What was he doing? Was he what? I know that the tone for all of this is that Jim Ross at the time didn't know any of these gals, nothing about wrestling, the current wrestling landscape, but he's a legend. So having him with Lita is awesome on commentary because she knows how to work with Jim Ross and somehow make chicken shit into chicken salad and make it like there were points that I was like, I'm just gonna mute this because it was so
I did.
bad.
I did.
I lowered the volume.
Oh,
I
it
couldn't
was so
stand it.
bad.
It also wasn't functional. I don't know why it was there.
I
You
mean,
had like Lita was good on commentary. The problem is they were both colored. Neither one of them was functional or knowledgeable enough to be calling moves. And I, as a wrestling fan, I did start most of my viewing ship hiding in my parents' room with the volume off. So I don't know names of moves. So trying to take notes, I was like, well, what the frick was that? And they were just like, oh, such and such. It's like, no shit. I can see it, doofus. What kind of flip was it? Like, come on now. It was difficult. I'm only hoping I don't embarrass Andre 2/3 too
He already
much
did that for
with
himself.
Oh my god.
oh, right.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, there are some people who they know every single move, and that's fine. I've done commentary myself, and I get so disoriented sometimes because it's from whatever perspective you are. So I could call
Mhm.
something a fisherman's suplex, and someone goes, "No, that's a fireman's carry suplex." And you're like, "Which one is it?" I'm not going, "Well, you know what? They're entering it with this side, and the centrifugal force is going this way." I don't give a fuck. All I want to know is what kind of suplex is it? Are we identifying it? You should be able to tell that. You know what I'm going to say? Suplexes are hard and they hurt your body. And you know what?
Yeah.
The more damage you do to your body, the more you are likely to lose a wrestling match. What story told? How hard is that? I'm not Jim Ross. You know, Jim Ross, who is notorious for treating women with with respect and kindness and dignity, and not at all objectifying them.
Mm. Well, thank you, Tony, for the raid. We have, holy moly, I don't know how many people
Oh
at this
my
point now
god!
because of the raid. So thank you so much.
Hello.
Oh my
We got
god!
paid.
Hey, this is a women's classic, a wrestling podcast, and we are about to talk about Shayna Baszler versus Zeta, which Zeta's already signed. Shayna Baszler at the time is a 37-year-old former MMA fighter. One of the 4 horsewomen. I really liked her vignette because it made me go, oh man, I miss Shayna Baszler. I miss Shayna. Why can't
Me
you, why
too.
can't that Shayna come back? The one that was dominating NXT, and her and Kyrie having just swabadoodle with the title belt and making it fun to watch. An absolute
Yeah.
killer. Remember her at Elimination Chamber, and she just went through everybody, and I was like, oh my god, that means she's gonna win at WrestleMania. And then it didn't happen. And then we
Dementia
see her.
happened.
Dementia did happen. And honestly, I don't think I'm ever going to forgive Vince McMahon for a lot of things. But for dropping Shayna Baszler, are you fucking kidding me?
Delulu and the Cthulhu.
I mean, with how easily the crowd seemed to drop what's her name? Ronda Rousey. But Ronda Rousey is a household name. Who's her best friend? Shayna fucking Baszler, who literally looks like she can take my arm off and then beat me with it. Isn't that what you want for a wrestler? Come on. We definitely want dominance. And then it got taken away from us.
Yeah.
Could you imagine if Shayna Baszler was where Rhea Ripley is now?
Oh.
Yeah.
Mommy. I mean, to each your own. Each your own. Each your own. Each your own. I haven't even had any bit of substance, and here I am not knowing how to say each your own. But
I definitely heard eat.
Oh my god.
We'll do
Take a
that too.
drink every time I say a word wrong. Astrid, make me stop talking. Tell me about this match.
I can tell you though, this match, especially at the end when Shayna goes to like celebrate the victory with the girls, it just made me so mad that we never got that 4 versus 4 horsewomen match.
I know.
Especially because I think it was for this one, I think if I'm not mistaken, but from one of the Mae Young Classic, they did have a clip of like, because I remember, I think it was the other one, because I think Sasha wasn't there. She was in Japan for the first time, and they had Bailey had Sasha on her phone cheering on. Becky was there, and they basically had a clip of them kind of confronting each other with the girls, and I was like, I cannot wait for this match to happen. And then when everybody was signed to WWE, I was thinking, oh, one step closer, and then downhill from there. And it just made me so mad seeing this because I was thinking this could have been such a great Survivor Series type of match, the 4 versus 4.
God.
Even if the WWE girls won because it's WWE, I don't care. But at least we got to witness it, and we never got that. So I was always waiting for that moment. And here, this introduction for me was for Shayna is that dominant Shayna that we got in NXT, and it was so great to see something like this. And thinking about it now, I was like, Pure Fusion Collective. This is how we're wasting Shayna, because we're wasting her at this point. She should be in a better position than what she's in than in the tag team like this. But different story for a different day. But put it like that. But again, this is one of those like, this one makes sense as a squash match because the way Shayna is and her wrestling, it definitely was. Not only that, but having Ronda there as well is like, you have her friends there. You don't want to like have her lose to somebody like Zeta that a lot of people don't have knowledge about at that time, especially when you have Ronda Rousey right there cheering on Shayna at the same time. So it does make sense to have Shayna win this, and I like the way she does it too. Such a quick victory, and it's just like there's not much to it, and I'm glad because Shayna's one of those people, like, she takes her target and that person's done for, and you can see that in this match too. So it just overall it made me like think about that match, and I'm like, in that moment that got stolen from us, because that 4 versus 4 is something that I know I'm not the only one that I have wanted to see that, and just seeing this, I'm like, darn it was so freaking close. How could you like let it slip away from your fingers?
Right. have been so many moments in, I mean, so many moments in the handful of years, 7 years, where everything has just, you had it right there. Extend Asuka's streak, right? Have Naomi win, right? Why did it take so long with Becky? Right there in the palm of your hand. And you wasted it. And now it's never going to happen. And then it's going to be, 10, 15 years from now, and it's going to be some sort of anniversary, whatever, and they're going to stare at each other, but it's not going to be the same. It's not going to be the same. But Shayna Baszler in 2 minutes and 19 seconds puts away Zeta Zhang, for those who know her elsewhere. How did you guys like the Shayna's gonna kill you chance?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Hello, Shayna's gonna kill you. Hello, Samoa Joe. The female version of Samoa Joe is
Pretty much,
Shayna
yeah.
fucking Baszler.
Yeah.
And you're watching it unfold right here, right there in front of you.
Mhm.
Any other thoughts there, Melball?
Um, I really enjoyed this match because, again, as mentioned, the classic Shayna. It was just you could see just that subtle heel work. She oozes charisma without having to do anything, really. She has that effortless charisma about her. There was one point where, after that amazing chain wrestling that these two were doing, kind of at the beginning there, Shayna stands up and just starts just slapping Zeta on the head and just playing with her, just picking at her, being a bully. And I love that character because she wasn't like, because now she's like a confident bully. Whereas like back then she almost felt like a lacking of confidence bully, if that makes sense. She wanted to bully people. She didn't quite know how far she could go with the bullying of the people, and now she knows, so she's far more of a bully. But I
Yeah.
really liked seeing how dominant she was in here. I don't know what Zeta was trying to do, but watching Shayna just yeet her effortlessly into that sleeper finish was just I was like, "Yep, that's about right there, yeah." Um, par for the course, Shayna Baszler. Shayna
Absolutely.
fucking Baszler.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. And she's a killer. And we're going to see her all the way to the end. And I love seeing a killer in action, especially in wrestling.
Mhm. Hell
Well,
yeah.
we are at our final match of this episode. We have a crowd favorite of Jazzy Gabbert, a 35-year-old brute from Germany that makes me look small, to my former friend, Abby Lath, aka Kimberly, 27-year-old, already signed with WWE at the time, hence the name change. Uh, easily the biggest upset of the night. Melball, do you want to go first this time?
I didn't realize that was Kimberly.
That it was Kimberly.
Oh.
Her hair was shorter
Yep.
then.
Oh, the math be mathin' right now. Oh,
She
interesting.
had glimpses of her little fairy princess thing with her little I don't know. I
Yeah, it's
guess
probably because
tissue
the first time I
apron.
saw Kimberly was when she was with Sue Young's little undead bride thing. So, like, that's
Yes.
probably why I did not recognize at all.
A very different look, so to speak. She's
Drastically.
Kimberly, especially here in the Pacific Northwest, very fairy, very Zelda, you know, with
Oh,
the sleeves
okay.
and the arms and the things very flouncy, very pretty, but is going to punch you right in the face. So
Oh,
it's
sounds
always
like
been exciting to
Natsupoi.
see her. But yeah, with her with the Undead Bride story, especially in TNA, that was right TNA. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That's
I
what
think
I'm
so, yeah.
thinking.
That's
But
what it is now.
yeah, T Impact.
Stop
Uh,
changing names of things. I'm confused enough.
um, but I remember seeing the preliminary matches for Jazzy, by the way, and going, oh, oh, you
Oh,
know,
yeah.
I don't like to be dominated, but I feel like I would like that. Please, just like push me around a little bit, you know, like stomp on my face a little bit, right?
I'm okay with it, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, give it to
Um,
me.
this this match was fun because as we're mentioning, Jazzy was a absolute unit. There's points where Abby is feeding her forearms and Jazzy's just sitting there, just absorbing it, just like, "What's good, honey? Hit me harder. Mommy likes
Mhm.
it." Like, she was not going anywhere. Jazzy very much, showed the Stardom background to me in this one. I felt like I was watching a Stardom match when I was watching this
Mm,
with the hair toss, with the strikes, with that submission style, with that combination that
yeah.
Abby was doing. Um, there was, one point where Jazzy really sunk a submission in, and Abby actually reversed it by scissoring her head only to have Jazzy stand up and kind of fumble her a little bit, but the
Mm.
fumble ended up falling Jazzy into the perfect, like, rear choke. It was like a happy little accident that just kinda happened that ended up looking really, really great.
Mhm.
Um, there was, at one point where Abby had just been beaten down so much and she was very staggered, having a lot of problems getting up to face Jazzy and trying to strike her. And this was when I kind of thought the match was winding down, and it was. It just I wasn't expecting the winner that we got out of here, especially
Mhm.
because after that, we got the senton from Abby, and then Jazzy followed up with that inside out lariat that I
Oh.
thought was the end of the match, but Abby somehow kicked out of that. Then there was a ground and pound by Jazzy as well. It was just so crazy, but Abby really cinched in that jackknife pin. She really folded Jazzy up like a lawn chair. She had nowhere to go despite her power. It was a very sudden yet oddly impressive win, I thought.
Mhm. Yeah. Astrid?
This one kind of reminded me of the opener in the sense of like you're seeing Jazzy being such a powerhouse, so you're expecting her to have that win. Kind of reminded me of how Kaylee Ray was like in my mind the winner of this match. And then all of a sudden we get this such a quick, I don't want to say quick, but like unexpected victory from from Kimberly here. That I'm like, wait, it almost feels like at the beginning of the show, but like that sense of it with two different people here. Because I expected you see that somebody like Jazzy, like physically, she's a lot bigger than Kimberly in that aspect. So the way she's coming at her, you're expecting her to have that win, and the way she's coming at her so strongly too. And then I do like the ending that after Kimberly does win, Jazzy looks and she has that face of like I'm mad at it and win. But then
Mhm.
and then they have kind of like that face of, and Kimberly's like, no, 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 like the match is over, don't come attack me. And they hug each other, and the crowd just starts cheering from this too. So I was like,
Mhm,
I love how quick that reaction was from the hug to the crowd cheering for it, though. It was something that
mhm,
it was such an unexpected moment in that way, but I feel like it was so organic the way it happened as well. I really enjoyed that from it. But again, it's like this is for me also an introduction to both people here and everything that came up out later. I didn't follow on Kimberly too much, but Jassy, I know she was more involved in that, the Mae Young Classic and NXT part of it. Um,
Mhm.
it was unfortunate they didn't do much with her at that moment, and she went on to do other things. At least I'm glad she still used her momentum to do other things and didn't stop herself after everything finished there with
mhm,
WWE. So I'm very glad for her in that aspect of it. But again, it's like this one for me, I feel like it could have gone either way because I feel like with like Kimberly's kind of like quick pace, she could have taken over Jazzy as well. So
Yeah.
I would have been fine with either one of them winning, but it just like that victory came really unexpected for me.
It definitely was a very big crowd upset. The crowd was so into Jazzy, just absorbing the blows from a very scrappy looking Abby Lath, right? So you have this brute force, right? We know her now as the alpha female. And how is she going to escape? Is it going to be another squash? But minutes kept going by.
Mhm.
And Abby Lath, I remember the Swanton because it was a very similar spot that she has done time and time again that she's missed. And it seemed to not be enough, right? You were putting in your strikes, not enough. Okay, now we got to get up. Now we got to use our full body force to put down this giant of a human, of a wrestler, of a woman, and it's still not enough to put her away. And just every blow seems to take the wind out of her. The way that she's gasping for air, she was selling her ass off, and I loved it. I was into it. And I know that Fishbowl had mentioned the alligator clutch, which was, I've seen this move on NXT UK. I've seen it be dominant here, and seen how uh countered into the end of into an upset after 7 minutes of wrestling that hard, and being like, you know what, I was so dominant, and how did you counter the thing that usually puts people away? It shows so much to Abby Lath and how she's going to be basically the underdog going through this tournament with her back up against the wall, going, oh shit, I really got to be scrappy, I really got to give all of everything I have. And what a great final David and Goliath kind of scenario to cap off episode 1, because both women showed so much fire, and it was well worth the look back, because now I just want to keep watching the Mae Young Classic. After I watched, because I watched episode 1 multiple times, I was like, oh, I just want to watch episode 2 so bad right now. I just want to binge watch this tournament. I just want to see what happens at the end. And isn't that what you're supposed to do on your first episode of going, I want to see this woman through. Now I know a little bit more about them, and I just want to see them do more wrestling. But I liked the handshake at the end. It was a ring of honor for me. And you know how I feel about that. But the crowd was into it, and it's all for the crowd. All right. If you had to score this episode sitting by itself, what kind of score would you give? Think about it. In the chat, you can give your little score if you've been following along with us, watching the Mae Young Classic Season 1, Episode 1.
Are we doing it
Astrid,
out of 5 out of 10?
let's be Meltzer for a minute, and we get to have our stars, because this is, we got a little star in our logo.
Yes, that's true.
It's true.
Dang, Ed.
6 out of 10.
I feel like I'm stuck between like I don't want to say like a 2.5, maybe a 3. I'll be nice and give it a 3, because it's like it's a good introduction to a lot of people, and it makes me think of like the could have beens and the what ifs in the world of wrestling. But again, there's other people that and my favorite thing is the Shayna match, the squash match, because it just makes sense the way it happens. So I would just say a 3.
Okay. Melball.
I'm actually gonna agree with JK there. I'm gonna give it a 3.5 because I enjoyed 3 of the 4 matches wholly. So for me, that's over 50% that I enjoyed. It was just the one match that I really couldn't get into. And even though the commentary was very lacking for me, it
Mhm.
didn't take away from the enjoyment or the entertainment value for me for the matches. As Astrid mentioned, it was a very good way to introduce the competitors. And for me, like coming into this not really knowing anybody other than from other places and from after this tournament, it was a great introduction for me to kinda get to know these people, get to see where they came from with the vignettes, get to see the kind of personality that we're going into. I thought it was really, really well done. The production-wise, the WWE always just slaps.
Yeah. Well, listen, if we're doing production wise, I mean, it's 5 out of 5 stars, whatever.
Oh, yeah.
But I would agree. 3.5 out of 5 is better than half, right? Because half would be 2.5, so it's better than half. I just am so stuck on that Serena Dean match because it was so long. But it's not going to sour me from watching the rest of this tournament. I think they did a great job of introducing us to new faces. I think that they did a great job of introducing who is going to probably be signed and people to look at, even though that they might not win the tournament. And commentary really sucked. Ring announcing. Hello, Dasha Fuentes. Hello. Love her styling. I love how she ring announces, and I'm really sad that she's not on AEW because I don't think anybody else is doing it as good. I mean, I think Samantha was doing it better than anyone for a long time. But loved Dasha, loved what she's done in NXT. And it just makes me want more. Now, which match was the best match? If you want to say episode 1, you have one match, which one would it be?
I mean, for me, it's Jazzy versus Abby. If I
Yeah.
had to pick one, that it just for the technical of it, for the combination of styles, the power versus that kind of power aerial that Abby was kind of throwing at her. They told a really good story. They both sold really well. There was a lot of good facial expressions for what was going on. It just it was the one that I couldn't look away from at all. Like I couldn't answer my phone. I couldn't do anything. I just was enamored by what was going on.
Yeah.
Mm. I'm stuck between the Shayna match and then the opener because I like the Kelly Ray versus Suhei match. It was something that came
Uh-huh.
unexpected for me. But I like Edison is like I miss that dominant Shayna, so it makes me like think more of that match. That's the one that really stands out to me the most out of the four. Just thinking of like this is the beginning of that Shayna that we get to see in NXT and that I miss, to be honest. So that's the one
Mhm.
that really stands out to me the most. And Millie, to answer the question, I suppose like Auntie and I are watching it on Peacock. I know Mel isn't because she's not in the US.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Could have
I
had a
have
watch
my
party.
rights.
We could.
I have my rights.
Telepathically.
I
That's how we're doing it.
I
Telekinesis.
lurk in
Yeah.
the shadows. Come out when I need
um,
to.
see, I I was struggling to go, okay, this if I were to go, okay, episode 1, it had this one match. And I'm a storytelling gal, right? I love a good David and Goliath story, an unexpected upset win, and the crowd being hot into it. It's I love Sheena so much. But there's other Shayna matches in the Mae Young Classic that I know are gonna be those dominant things. So Sherry on top, Abby defeating Jazzy. That is the one to watch. Um, it makes me excited for next episode, which we will talk about next Monday. Let's
Hi.
do our little pluggerinos. Where are they?
Mm,
Hello. Am I
Okay.
the producer? Am I? I don't think I'm a
okay,
producer. Here I
there
am.
you go. Melba, you go
Okay.
first. I'm
Yeah.
on you first.
Oh, okay. If you're wanting to follow Melball, you can follow me on the X thing at Collins Melball. You can follow me on everything else: Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Mastodon, and Blue Sky at Melball Collins. You can also find myself and Andre 2/3. See, I like to change where the 2/3 is every once in a while just to muck with him. Piss him off. It's got a resonance some way. You can find us on our YouTube channel, Andre Melball's Wrestling Talk, where we release weekly content about New Japan, Marigold, Stardom, and the local Edmonton, Alberta scene. So go ahead and check that out. You can also find me on our local establishment here for our Japanese wrestling update every Friday at 8 p.m. Mountain Time, unless it's not. And then we're letting you know on social media. This week will be a pre-recorded episode because we will be attending the Canadian Wrestling Elite Show on Friday. So we will probably be watching somebody get their butt beat while the show is going live. What else? You can also find me on Astrid Pizarro's YouTube channel, where we do our show Ladies Wrestling Showcase, all about the ladies. We gotta talk, girl. We gotta get an episode out soon. It's been a hot minute.
I know, I'm
It's been a
trying.
hot minute. What else? That's everything. I'm busy. I have a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah, you're busy.
Mhm.
All right.
Yeah. Okay, I got lost for a moment.
Yeah.
Where's mine?
There's a lot. I gotta make a thing. I'm a really great producer.
Oh, I got
guys.
yours. Okay, that's yours. There you go.
Oh
Just had to
no,
find
this is
yours.
me. This is me. Hi, I'm Auntie Collins. You can find me underscore queer auntie, unless it's a place like Blue Sky where they don't allow underscores, or Twitch. I also go on Twitch. I'm here every Thursday talking about Ring of Honor, which suffering. I am in pain. But watch us ramble. Sometimes we talk about breakfast food instead, and it's a lot of fun. Or how I think it's weird to go on a cruise and eat soup in the middle of the summertime, which I think is so strange. Would never do that.
That is
I love
odd.
soup, but I would
I do
never.
too, but it's gonna look
I
the
have a
same
very
coming up
different.
when you're seasick, right?
That's how I thought. 'Cause it was all about a conversation about only surviving on espresso martinis and soup on a cruise. And that just sounds like,
That sounds awful.
we've had many conversations about soup on cruises, but I am there on Thursdays. Guess what? This week is Full Gear. I almost called it the wrong thing. It's Full Gear. And guess what? We're doing a post show, and I'm going to be there. And I am going to come with notes, and I'm probably going to cry because I know that there's something that's probably going to make me cry. So you want to hear me cry? I'm going to cry about it. I also cry about wrestling on Fightful Overbooked every Sunday morning for Wrestling Made Me Cry with my co-host Kylie. And we talk about everything that makes us cry in wrestling. And we're going to do a post show there. So I'm going to be talking about Full Gear for a very long time. And it better be a good pay-per-view because I have a lot to say all the time.
Ooh,
Yep.
I love it.
There you go.
I love it.
And then I'm here every Monday now. So
Yes.
Yay.
Well, you can find me tomorrow doing Taking Over, usually with my co-host Ed, but he's unable to do it tomorrow. So I got a great guest, which is Scoops McGee, that's going to be with me tomorrow. So I get Kimmy with me. I know, right? I get to do something with Kimmy. So Kimmy will be talking about NXT with me tomorrow. Other than that, you can find me again next week. We'll do episode 2 of this, which is really exciting. But yeah, you can find me as it is there. My Twitter, Blue Sky, is Astrid Pizarro. My Instagram and the threads, Astrid Pizarro 20. And like I said, I'm gonna play the calendar right after this, so that way you can see what else we have going on for the rest of the week. But we have a lot going on almost every single day now because now we're filling in Mondays too. Yes, I love it. I love it. Yes. And then this is for you, Auntie.
no soup. I don't.
Sounds like snakes on a plane. No soups on a ship.
It depends on the ship. If I'm going on a ferry boat in the Pacific Northwest and it's raining outside and they have, say, clam chowder, a little
Chowder.
bowl, but a cruise. I don't know how I feel about that.
Loops der bisque.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. This has been so much fun. We need to plug the show. I mean, who are we? We are our local establishment. Oh no. Oh no, I clicked it. Our local
I clicked on the
establishment.
wrong one. There you go. There you go.
This is our local establishment. Like, share, subscribe. You want to be here next Monday. You want to be here tomorrow. You want to be here Thursday. You want to be here Friday. You want to be here Saturday. You want to be here every single day. But if you click the little bell icon, I have it on. It's not that annoying. You would think a little bell would be annoying. It's not. It just reminds you, hey, guess what? We're going live. And you can go, oh, I'm going to like it and share and subscribe. Hang out with your friends because we want to see you here. We want to see you thrive. We want to see you love all the things wrestling with us because guess what? We love your face and we also love wrestling. Also love non-wrestling things. But we're glad you're here. So thank you. Thank you for joining us. I guess we'll see you. I guess we'll see you next week. See you next week. See you next week.
Yes.
I'll see you guys next week.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
We'll
Yeah,
see you next
buddy.
week. Bye.
Please note,
Never gonna stop, never gonna change, never gonna do the things you say. I run my own way to get there. Pulls a coin and I don't seem to care. In the air, no more crowd, just the opposite kind of few clouds. So tell me this time is coming, for the sake of all your lies.